Let's talk to Jane Sullivan, who's Sports Coordinator of Women's Rights Network. I mean, J.K. Rowling last night said the BBC might as well have gone around and spat in women's faces as a result of doing this. Jane, very good morning to you. Where are you on this then, Jane?
Well, we're very much from the view that every single elite athlete should be sex tested if they want to be in the female category, and that no males should be allowed in the female category, whether they've had the unfortunate thing of being born with a difference of sexual development, or whether they are what used to be called a masquerading male, but a trans male coming into the women's game. So, we want all males, however they come to the game, to be out of the female game. And you mentioned that Barbra Banda played football at the Olympics. Well, so did several other footballers suspected to have a similar condition. This could be sorted out overnight if the International Olympic Committee and FIFA had introduced sex testing. It's ironic that the Confederation of African Football has sex testing, which is why these individuals didn't play at the African Women's Cup of Nations, because either they didn't take the test because they knew what was going to be the result, or they took the test and found, and were shown to have XY chromosomes, which means they are male. A lot has been talked about Barbra Banda's elevated testosterone levels. Well, a female only has elevated testosterone levels that are out of the range of the female range if they're seriously ill with some condition that makes them produce too much testosterone, in which case they'd be too ill to play football. If they're doping, in which case they're cheating and they shouldn't be in the game anyway, or if they're male. So which one of those three would this footballer come into? Well, we highly suspect that it's because this footballer is male and they shouldn't be in the game.
Well, Siobhan would say, I suppose, from TalkSport, if you don't mind me speaking for you, she would say, well, this woman Barbra Banda has, as far as she knows, lived as a woman, was born, she thought, as a woman, was kind of, assigned, I don't like using this phrase, assigned at birth as a woman. She hasn't sort of changed anything about her life in order to play women's football.
No, and it's really unfortunate for these babies that are born with this condition and at birth are assigned to female because they may look a bit different. And if you talk to a midwife, or most midwives who've ever seen babies like this, they say, well, there's something not quite right. In nations where there's a very advanced healthcare system, these babies would be picked up at birth, and the correct diagnosis would be made, and they would be put on a treatment pathway that's appropriate for their condition. If you could think going back 25 years to say the healthcare system in Africa at the time may not have been able to pick up these babies, and if a child is born at home, perhaps with a local midwife looking at this child and saying, well, she's a girl, and then that girl is, that person is raised as a girl, and it is unfortunate. But these conditions, the minute puberty hits, it is obvious that there is something different going on. These people don't have periods because they don't have a uterus. They don't grow breasts because they're not female. They often, their voices drop, they grow facial hair, and they muscle up in the way a boy would. So something's going on. They need to be picked up at that stage. However, the problem is that by this time, they've probably excelled in girls' sport. They've probably been scouted for a football team, because their extra muscle mass and their power and strength will be way beyond the girls. So they will be identified as talented athletes. That's where the trouble is.
Well, that would seem to be where the trouble is. Jane, thanks very much indeed. Jane Sullivan there, Sports Coordinator, Women's Rights Network.